Valentine's Day, it's all about love, right? Well, today, Talking Solutions is doing an hour-long theme program about the love we feel for our animals. I'm Terry Springs. I was inspired by my friends at the Poppy Foundation because every Valentine's Day for years, they've done a noon to 3 bake sale and raffle and fun get-together where they raise money to care for the poppy cats. And since I serve on the board for that cat charity, I do love spreading the word. Linda Newman is president of the Poppy Foundation. The way I explain the Poppy Foundation is that we care for animals who are abused, abandoned, chronically ill.
Right. They have illnesses that a lot of other places may not treat. They would suggest that you put them to sleep. We feel as long as they're happy and they're eating and they're getting around, that they deserve a chance.
And there are a lot of cats who basically will live their lives out at the Poppy Foundation because they're not adoptable. We know that those animals also have medical conditions that are somewhat expensive to treat. So the donations that come into the Poppy Foundation, by the way, doesn't get any other kind of funding.
Correct.
The kindness and generosity of individuals are what makes the Poppy Foundation possible. And don't think that it's a down kind of place. The Poppy Foundation, and I invite everybody to come and see it. It's a happy place, a wonderful place. It's a place of cat trees and little kitty beds and toys and places for them to run. And it's cats having the time of their lives.
It is, and they absolutely love visitors because they live in a big space and they're just basically seeing the staff. When a person comes in and sits down, watch out because they're going to be on your lap. They're going to be purring and wanting pets, and they just want love. So we encourage people to please come by and see our kitties.
You want to talk about a cat-friendly place, for sure. People come by, and scientific studies have shown interaction with an animal, with a cat, is beneficial to your life. It's good for you.
Absolutely is. I can come to work and maybe not be having such a great day, and as soon as I see those sweet little faces, even though they're tromping all over my paperwork on my desk, it just changes my mood completely.
Even though they're sitting on your computer keyboard.
Exactly. Turning my picture upside down.
Even though they take your chair the minute you get up because it's warm.
I still love them.
I'm a cat person.
Makes my day.
I know you're a cat person, too.
Yes.
When we talk about the fact that the Poppy Foundation doesn't receive any outside funding, it is tax deductible as a charity, as a 501c3. People give donations.
We are so grateful.
How many cats do we have at Poppy these days?
We're at about 150.
Wow. I don't think I've ever heard a number quite that high.
We've never been this high before. What that means is we have added costs. A lot of sick cats that need medicating and food and litter and you name it, we need it.
We've got a Poppy wish list, I know, on
Yes,
Amazon.com. It's on the Poppy Foundation's page on Facebook. People donate. A lot of times I see them bringing in the cases of the Friskies cans.
Oh, it's so nice, yes.
Cat litter. Newspaper even comes in handy.
We need newspaper. We need paper towels. We need paper plates, the little small ones to feed the cats on. Towels. If you're buying new towels and need a place to get rid of the old ones, we'd be happy to take them. Just little things like that we could always use.
And of course, volunteer hours make a huge difference. People who come in and pet the cats and say, you know what, I could volunteer over here. This is such a wonderful atmosphere. This is such a calming, wonderful place.
Right.
People come in and they help with litter boxes, feeding.
We would love to have people come in and help feed. They do it at specific times, so the person would have to be available for that, but we would love that. If we have any former vet techs or anybody with experience that want to come in and help medicate our cats, that would be a huge help also. We'd welcome that.
The Poppy Foundation is right there next to Bonanza Cat Hospital.
Correct, yes.
So people can see Poppy cats through that door, and they're welcome to go in and visit and pet cats.
Absolutely.
Cats love to be brushed.
Yes, they do. Oh, my gosh.
They like to play with toys.
They love the toys. They just love human contact. A lot of people think that cats are loners. They want to be left alone, but that's not necessarily true. Our cats, we have many, many cats that just want to be with you. They want to be with a person.
If you come over and visit the cats and pet them and maybe brush them and play with them for a few minutes, chances are you'll come back. I would imagine you see a lot of repeat visitors that way.
We do see a lot of people that come in the first time to visit, and they're so excited and overwhelmed and happy that they say they will be back, and I do see their faces come back again.
The Poppy Foundation always is needing our help to be able to do the wonderful work that they do. In many cases, these cats will live their lives out at the Poppy Foundation. And in some cases, it's kind of a kitty hospital. hospice.
It is basically a kitty hospice. A lot of the cats that we have there don't necessarily have illnesses. Some are behavior problems. I want to also point out, our cats that have illnesses, none of it is contagious.
No.
We have no contagious cats there. They're chronic illnesses like liver disease, kidney disease. Some have feline AIDS, which is not contagious to other cats.
Exactly.
They have feline leukemia, which is usually transferred from mother to kitten, so it's not contagious to anybody. You can't get it and transfer it to your cats if you come visit. We wouldn't have anything like that.
I know the past couple of years, Poppy Foundation has been at our Divas Day Out event.
Yes.
At the South Point, coming up at the end of February. We will be happy to have you involved again.
Oh, great. We love Divas Day Out. So much fun.
This is a special day on Talking Solutions. You know, Valentine's all about love. So today I made it a theme program talking about the love we have for our pets. Karen Layne is with us, president of the Las Vegas Valley Humane Society, and they rely on volunteers, especially people like Pam Coburn. Man, I can't wait to hear your story. But Karen, I know the reason why you're visiting us today is because you really need some volunteers, and we're looking at a volunteer orientation coming up Saturday.
You've got that right. It is volunteers, particularly because guess what season this is getting to be?
Yeah, we're getting close to kitten
There we
season.
are. So we're really looking for dog and cat fosters. That's just critical for us. But there are other foster opportunities as well, Terry. And so I hope we do get a chance to talk about those too, because we have a lot of volunteer opportunities with the Las Vegas Valley Humane Society.
We have time to talk about anything you want. Las Vegas Valley Humane Society, 100% volunteer. So when people step up to help you, donations of money, donations of items, I'm sure are always welcome.
Definitely.
But giving your time is so important. Do you have a volunteer orientation coming up in the very near future?
Yes, we do. As a matter of fact, it's always the third Saturday of the month. So this month it's going to be on February 20th. Normally it's from 11 to 1, but because the Democratic caucus is on the 20th from 11 to 1, we're actually going to slide that a little bit. And this month, the volunteer orientation will start at 2 p.m.
So you can sleep in a little bit.
Yes, exactly. That's right. But if just people will remember the third Saturday of the month from 11 to 1 normally, this month, 2 p.m.
Politics. That's all I'm saying. And I'm sure all of that information will be on your website.
On the website. That's right. We already have it up and ready on the website to show that there has been a slight change.
lvvhumane.org.
That's right. And humane is spelled Humane. lvvhumane.org.
I'll make sure it's also available on our Talking Solutions Facebook page, along with a podcast of our discussion today, so you can get all of that right there as well.
Thank you.
For volunteers, what is the process? Let's say that somebody who's listening to us says, I might be interested in volunteering for the Humane Society, love animals, maybe I could help. What process do they go through to become a part of the orientation and also helping?
Well, the first thing they do is go to our website. They will find a volunteer questionnaire that they fill out. And basically on the website, there's a lot of information about what our volunteers can do. So they should probably look at that first and then fill out the volunteer questionnaire, submit that. We get that. And we may call them before the volunteer orientation, but we hope they will then attend the next volunteer orientation. At that time, we'll give them an overview of the organization and what it does, find out what they want to do, and get them in touch with the people that they need to get in touch with. For example, Pam is a cat and kitten foster. We might put them with her and she might set up a foster to do that. She goes into a lot of cat foster homes. I'll let her talk about that process. And then she would talk to them about how to foster kittens and cats. Pam also is a trapper. She traps feral cats and spays and neuters them and returns them back. That requires training. So what they might do is we would put that person with Pam if they wanted to trap feral cats. And they would go out with her and learn how to trap feral cats. There's a lot of opportunities for people transporting animals. As a matter of fact, they can do that as well. We have a lot of people that don't have transportation to get their animals spayed and neutered. We need to get those people to the clinics with their animals to get that done. So there's a lot of opportunities for volunteers in our organization.
There are so many opportunities out there. All you have to do is have a little love for animals, and don't we all have that?
That's really critical. I will say that because I just want to point out that most of our animals do come from off the street, and that's one of the reasons we put them into foster homes. They need to be socialized. So it's really important that those people recognize that and are willing to spend the time that they need with them.
It makes them adoptable animals. And that's a happy forever home for everybody.
There you go.
Pam Coburn also with us today as we talk with our friends from the Las Vegas Valley Humane Society on Talking Solutions. Pam, if it was you, I don't know. I love all of the trappers, all the people who help with our efforts here in Clark County. We are all together working to make a difference, and I do see that it's happening. It takes a long time to get those processes in place. The ordinances across all different jurisdictions throughout Clark County that say that you've got to spay and neuter your animal. We have to cut down on the number of kitties and doggies on the streets. 2 of my cats were TNRs, trap, neuter, or spay and release. Those little black cats that showed up on my patio who now live in the house and sleep on the bed every night and take all the room, love them like crazy, are there and have now a forever home because of the work of people like you. So, Pam, thank you for what you do. Now, I understand you do a lot. As Karen Layne says, with the Las Vegas Valley Humane Society, you actually do the trapping of animals. How does that work? How do you find out you need to take a trap out and set it up and take care of that?
Usually it's through our hotline, through the Humane Society. We get people that call in that have problems in their neighborhood, or they know of a business that needs help trapping cats, and we get with them. And if they're able to do the trapping themselves, I go over the procedures with them, give them any help or advice that I can. Or if they are unable to do it themselves, then I will go and do it for them.
One way or the other, we need to get those animals taken care of. And I know also spaying or neutering ends up being more beneficial for the animal's health. It's just better for everybody concerned. And ultimately, we will have less animals who are homeless on the streets who have no future.
Right.
That's just sad.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the people that leave their cats behind when they move are the people that don't spay and neuter. And that's why we end up having to trap them and get it done. And then, the offspring that they have.
And the multiplication of animals is phenomenal.
It's quick.
Until you see the grid. In fact, I should get that out. I'm going to put that grid of how many offspring one animal can produce on our Talking Solutions Facebook page so that people can go, whoa, I know that's what I've done. Pam, how long have you been a volunteer in this area?
Since about 2005. It started because my daughter wanted to foster kittens. We had gone into an adoption location. She fell in love with the kittens and said, Mom, can we foster? And, of course, I said yes. Now she's moved off, and I am still doing it.
That was the genesis of the entire project.
You can't resist kittens.
Well, the problem is with fostering, I would be considered a failed foster, as we all joke about, because anybody who's a pet lover.
I do have my own personal failures, but
when you get involved with enough, I think eventually
the longer you do it, the less failures you have.
You socialize the animals, and you go, I am more than happy to pass them along to
and
a
every
forever
time,
home.
I'm at adoptions with them, and one of them gets adopted, I get very teary-eyed. It's still hard to see them go.
They can always get on Facebook and send us pictures.
Some people do.
That's
Some people
right.
do, and it is really nice when they do that.
Celebrate it together.
Yeah.
We talked about getting involved as a volunteer for the Las Vegas Valley Humane Society. If somebody was interested in doing the things that you do, which are numerous, Pam, helping out, you mentioned adoption events, doing fostering on their own, helping to get these animals to the point where they are spayed or neutered, even if it's releasing them back, that's okay, as long as the problem is taken care of. There are volunteer opportunities. Also, heartfelt thanks to all of the groups here in Clark County who help us with the entire spay and neutering issue. The people with C5, Heaven Can Wait, groups like the Las Vegas Valley Humane Society, all of whom work together to help make this problem less.
Carrie, I think your point's well taken, is that it's been a cooperative effort of these groups working together. And I mean, we have been working together over a long period of time trying to work with the community to reduce this problem. And we have been successful in doing that. And I don't think that people understand how successful we have been from where we were even 5 years ago, that we've really reduced the number of cats and dogs really very substantially. But we need people to call us up if they've got animals to be spayed and neutered, if they've got strays in their yards right now that they may be feeding. We want them to call us, because now's the time to do that, not when they have kittens. And I think if we can get that one point across today, that's the issue for us, because what happens is when those mother cats have kittens, she may look fat today and then tomorrow she's got kittens someplace, but it's a very hard life for those mothers. And so better now to get them spayed so they don't have to deal with that. And what often happens is that at some point we're not able to take all those kittens that come to us. And we're much more able to do it now to get the cats spayed so we don't have to deal with the kittens later on. And I think if we can get that point across today, that's really important for people to just call us if they've got a stray cat in the neighborhood. And that way we can get Pam out there or some of our other trappers to help us get that taken care of.
Absolutely. Don't get us wrong. We all have this tremendous love for kittens. Who doesn't love kittens?
Yeah.
But it's reflective of a problem that we have not yet solved.
It's a people problem.
Yeah. And I think, Pam, honestly, the number one thing, and as you said, Karen Layne, president of the Las Vegas Valley Humane Society, number one thing that I think we're asking out of today's discussion is when it comes to pets, whether or not you own them, or if you just see them in your neighborhood or where you work or whatever. Number one, we ask you to be responsible when it comes to dealing with pets. If you own them, make sure they're spayed or neutered. If you don't even own them, but you see them around you and you know that they need to be taken care of, be responsible. Call and let groups like the Las Vegas Valley Humane Society know that we've got a problem with this animal. Could you help us? Maybe I can trap them, or I need your help to trap that animal to get them taken care of so that we don't have the litters of little babies running around.
The real issue there, though, Terry, is that we can't do that. We can't help people without our volunteers. That's what makes us able to do the work that we do, because without our volunteers, we can't help people. They're very closely interconnected. The idea that we're out there helping the community, we want to get you to be responsible, we want to help you be responsible, but we want also people out there to know that they can volunteer, that if they're dog fosters or cat fosters, we provide food, we provide the medical care. It's not as though you have to spend a lot of your own money to care for those animals, and I think that's a big issue for many people.
I agree with you, Karen, because I think part of it is an awareness factor. People don't realize that if they would just give their time and their home and their love to help socialize and foster these animals, it's not on them to spend the money to do it.
That's right.
The groups that we are assisting by becoming fosters, they will help us with the cost of the food. They will help us with the cost of medical needs. Whatever that animal needs, if you would help us by becoming a foster, it's so beneficial. And what a great experience to be able to have an animal in your life and help mold them to the point where they are adoptable and they go on to that forever home.
Well, I will say this for Pam. Pam actually does bottle babies as well. That's why we try to get people to make sure they call us if they see a mom and kittens, but not to disturb them, because so many times what happens is people will bring the kittens into the house and the kittens are not old enough to leave the mother. We're really committed to finding that mother and getting her reconnected. If we can't do that, then they're bottle babies, so they need to be bottle fed. And that's a huge time and effort. What, Pam, like every 2 hours or something like that?
It's an around-the-clock commitment. Depending on the age of the kitten, a lot of them do not survive.
They don't thrive unless they have the proper care.
Right. Survival rates are a lot better with mom. And once they're born, we don't want to see them not make it, but sometimes it happens.
I think about kittens being separated from mom. Mm-hmm. That's the best case scenario. We want the kittens to grow up around their mom, of course. But a cat that I had that I got with help from Ann with the Las Vegas Valley Humane Society almost 18 years ago now. This kitten was obviously separated from mom. Mom was feral. They couldn't even catch her to get her spayed. She was that wily because she was out on the streets. They couldn't catch the mom, but they had these kittens. I got one of the kittens, and it's so funny, little Ray, that I had for 17 years. She loved to hiss at people. When we first got her, you'd look at her through the crack of the bathroom door, and she would hiss at you just for looking at her. But I think she was taken away from her mom before she got the lesson to teach her about what you do after you hiss. Because her hiss was empty. It meant nothing. She got separated from mom, and so she got a little bit of awareness, but she didn't learn all the tricks that if she was with her mom, she might have gotten. Those kind of special cats. Not all situations, though, with fosters, as you say, Karen and Pam, involve bottle feeding a baby and having to do it every 2 hours. Commitment. That's actually a special trait that you have.
That is a very special person.
But that tells you something about Pam's commitment to the animals that she fosters, because it is a huge commitment to do that. A lot of love to the people who foster these animals. They give those animals love. That TLC is critical.
Yes.
So we need to get them fostered out after their bottle-fed age. They're old enough to where they can actually just live in the house and start learning how to be nice little animals who can get adopted It's one of the many things that volunteers can do for the Las Vegas Valley Humane Society. Karen Layne is the president with us today on Talking Solutions, and you're mentioning the volunteer orientation, which is coming up next Saturday,
February the 20th.
And you've moved it back a little time-wise because of our Democratic caucus, which is going to go on from 11 to 1, so you pushed it back to 2 p.m. and after. So if somebody is interested in finding out about volunteering for the Las Vegas Valley Humane Society, and you got so many great jobs that they can do, fostering.
We also have administrative, working on a newsletter that we do in our email blast. I mean, there's a wide variety of opportunities for people.
Transporting animals that need to be spayed or neutered.
Doing outreach, we go door to door often. We're trying to get people to spay and neuter their animals. If we run vaccine clinics, which we're getting ready to do with Heaven Can Wait at the end of the month in one location, we'll be going door to door, letting people know about the vaccine clinic, and that's getting people out there and then getting them to spay and neuter their animals. So
I think as far as volunteering for the Las Vegas Valley Humane Society, we've got so many opportunities. All we need is you as a willing volunteer. We'll find a place for you.
Exactly.
You can start by visiting the website, lvvhumane.org.
That's right.
And I know, Pam, we were talking about animals that need to be spayed or neutered. You guys have a hotline that you can call if you have an animal in your neighborhood or even in your care, an animal that you have that you don't have the transportation to take it and get it spayed or neutered. What would the hotline number be?
It's 702-434-2009.
702-434-2009. That's the hotline.
And they can also email us if they have an issue as well. And that's our initials, lvvhs@cox.net.
lvvhs@cox.net for email. Okay, so the volunteer orientation that we're mentioning today, that will take place next Saturday the 20th, starting at 2 p.m. What kind of time commitment are we looking at for that initial day?
1 to 2 hours for the most part. And most of the time, everything's covered that first hour. But a lot of times what happens is people want to talk to the person who's giving the orientation about some of the opportunities that are out there because they really don't know what they want to do. And that will take a little bit longer. Usually it's about an hour, and then we'll be available for another hour for people to talk about anything they want to talk about in terms of volunteering.
Well, you know, when I get involved in something like that, it generally goes later for me because at the end I want to talk to all the other nice pet-loving people who are also in the same room.
And dog people. Don't forget the dogs.
Of course. Yeah, pet-loving. I love pets of any kind. I just find that the kind of people who have the heart to do something with overpopulation of animals in Clark County, these are the best people I know. The people I like to hang out with, and that's why my day kind of extends out at the end. Any event like that. Pam, how much time? I know you are what I would consider an extreme volunteer because you do so much.
Yeah, don't ask my husband.
I got the same situation going on.
I say this, it's a full-time volunteer job for me, but it doesn't have to be. You can put in a few hours a week or a month or whatever you can find the time for. We can always use your help.
We really can. We're talking about the kind of time or effort that it takes to volunteer. I know you're a foster parent for animals as well.
Yes.
What does that involve?
Just the everyday care, the feeding and making sure that they're healthy and they're vaccinated properly, taking them to the vet when it's time for them to be spayed or neutered and be prepared for adoption, also transporting them to the adoption site. And then you can leave them there during the adoption period time and then pick them up. You do that every weekend until they're adopted.
And then they go off to their forever home.
And then they go off to their forever
And there
home.
aren't a lot of expenses for a foster parent like food, medical.
No, we provide the food and all the medical, but the only thing you have to provide is maybe kitty litter for the cats and the love and the attention. The more time you spend with them, the more social they are and the better off they are when they're adopted.
They'll fit right in their new home. If you let them go, in my case,
Yeah.
you know.
that you got to remember that every time you get one adopted, you have space to bring in a new one.
That's right. It helps the overall problem get resolved, and that's what we're hoping for. Pam, we're talking about all the time that you put in as a volunteer, all the wonderful things that you do. Why did you get involved with fostering animals?
I've always had a love for animals. And at one point, I worked for a veterinarian, and then I had children. And as my children grew up, I had time on my hands and wanted to find something to do that interested me. And this was definitely the one thing I found that was very interesting to me. And it provides me with emotional feedback. It makes me feel good about myself. So I get a lot more out of it than I really put in.
I love helping someone else or another
It's a very good
creature.
feeling. That's another thing. When you work with the community, you're helping people just as much as the animals. We help people with their animal problems. So you do get a lot of people that you meet.
Good people.
Yeah.
A lot of positive bounce back. I always feel good when I help an animal or help someone who absolutely can't help themselves. They are at our mercy, and that's where I really want to put my efforts. That's what makes me feel the best. And like I said, get involved in something like this. These are the best people I ever meet. People who have a love for animals. Tells you something about them. Volunteers. Karen, what else do you need?
I think we've covered a lot of it. On December the 1st of last year, Clark County changed their ordinances, and they are no longer picking up cats. So as we look at this season, and that's one of the reasons why we're really pleading for volunteers, our call volume has really increased, and we're seeing more people because now animal control won't pick up cats. They're calling us. That's why we're looking to increase our volunteers, because we know as the seasons change and as we go into kitten season and puppy season, we, not so much with the puppies, but we know that we're going to be called on more frequently to try to go out and deal with kittens that Clark County used to pick up. And we're happy to see that they're no longer going to the shelter to be killed. We're very happy about that, because that's what would happen, particularly with feral cats. So now they're returning them back. But because of that, it's even more important that we are able to respond to the public and try to get those cats either spayed, help them get the cats trapped, spayed and neutered, or if there are kittens, try to get the mother and put them together in our care. And that's why we think it's just really important. We need to boost our volunteer base in order to be able to respond to that increasing level of calls.
I did not realize the December 1st date. I'm okay with Clark County not picking up the cats anymore. So they're not going to the shelter, but it means that more of that ends up on your shoulders. So you need more volunteers to help out with the issue. And this really is a community problem. This is not one person's problem. This is all of us working together. And that's how we're going to solve it.
Exactly. We all need to be involved in this effort. And if we can get people to volunteer for us so we can keep the animals out of the shelter and, get those animals spayed and neutered, bring those kittens and moms to safety, that's what we want to do. I think that's really important. I will say this, that animal control will pick up from schools, and they will continue to pick up injured and ill animals. We will also do that. But I think it's real important that we want to make sure that those animals get taken care of. And as you say, it is a community problem. Understand that. We think a lot of people are still getting used to changes.
It's positive for all of us. It makes a difference. And job one, be responsible when it comes to animals. If they're your animals or just in the neighborhood, we need to take care of this, all of us. And a great way to get involved would be by becoming a volunteer for the Las Vegas Valley Humane Society. That orientation is coming up next Saturday, the 20th, starting at 2 p.m. for just a couple hours. If you want to find out, get yourself signed up, go ahead and say, hey, I might be interested in doing this. You can start on the website at lvvhumane.org. lvvhumane.org. I'll have all the links, phone numbers, everything you need on our Talking Solutions Facebook page, along with a copy of this interview. Karen, talking about the volunteer orientation that's coming up. I know we talked about that a little bit during the show, but what type of volunteer opportunities are out there?
Well, we have all kinds of volunteer opportunities, but as we get these animals in off the street, we also have to put them up for adoption. We rehabilitate them, so we need adoption counselors. We need people who can be at adoptions and show the animals and talk about the animals. That's true both for the dogs and the cats. And on the dog side, it's even more important because most of the time we usually have one volunteer per dog. That's what we try to have. So it means that you need a whole lot more dog volunteers in terms of adoptions than you do cat adoptions. But we also have people who transport animals to adoptions, if they can do that, because we have a lot of people who are willing to foster sometimes, but can't necessarily transport. Or, for example, the kittens need to be vaccinated. And usually Pam helps with that effort, but there are times that they have to be transported to the veterinarian. So that's the other issue. There's just so many opportunities that you can help with. So if you're a volunteer at the adoption, say, for example, the cat adoptions normally run from like 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The dog adoptions usually run from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So you're talking about a day out of your week, if you will, or a couple of hours if you're doing dog adoptions. And you get to play with the kittens kittens and the cats and play with the dogs, so it's a lot of fun. You also get to see them adopted and talk to people about the animals so they do get adopted. That's a very important function.
Makes a nice addition to your weekend. There's so much you can do. I know we mentioned also a moment ago, there are opportunities even in the office to help you with clerical. No matter what it is, even if it's out knocking on doors and letting them know that there's going to be a vaccination effort coming up, any of that, we can use you. If you've got time and you've got the desire to help, there will be a job for you with the Las Vegas Valley Humane Society.
Definitely.
As we mentioned, all the information, links, and everything will be on our Talking Solutions Facebook page. If you'd like to go directly to the website, it is lvvhumane.org. Karen Layne, president of the Las Vegas Valley Humane Society, and Pam Coburn, incredible volunteer. Thank you for everything you do.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us on Talking Solutions. Talking Solutions is a production of the Community Relations Department here at Beasley Media Group Las Vegas. Get more information on today's topic on our Talking Solutions page on Facebook, where you will also find links and a podcast of today's show. Thanks for listening, and have a great week.